Carchon wasn't the type for messing about on the river. He was up to something down here. Something that got him killed. I wasn't leaving yet. I had a hunch there was more to find. This fence was a permanent fixture. The fence wouldn't move. The cross looked familiar. I'd seen it before. It was embroidered on the lace cloth I'd picked up at Carchon's apartment. I knew I was on the right track. I tried pushing the fence, but it wouldn't move. A strange pair of locks stopped the latches from releasing the gate.
Yay, our first minigame. Now, I understand that they are a thing, especially these days. But in this instance, well, with this game in particular, I would have preferred if they made more logical sense. I mean, when have you ever seen in real life a lock that looks like this? Especially on an old door? Anyway, I'm going to stop grumbling and just get on with it. It is what it is.
One down, one to go. Nothing like a good convent education for honing your lockpicking skills. For a room full of junk, that was one very sophisticated lock system. This place was definitely fishy, in more ways than one. It was almost as if the fence was intended to double as a bridge. I really didn't want to pull the fence back up and risk trapping myself in this place. The skiff hadn't been touched for years. I've got an exercise bike just like that. Oops. I'd wrecked the skiff. Not that it was particularly seaworthy anyway. Moving the skiff would only damage it more.
And you're worried about that? Why?
It was an old shell case, probably from the 50s. I knew what I was talking about. I grew up watching war movies. An old shell case. I wondered what that was doing there. A rough hole was cut into the pillar. So, a stone door. There had to be a mechanism to open it. No handle, nothing obvious. but there had to be a way to open it.
Nothing obvious? What about this?
The words Sinister and Dexter were carved on either side. Now any good convent girl like me knows the old Roman for left, right, left, right. But what did it mean here?
Well, what does it mean exactly? S and D.
Mystery solved. Carchon's stone cylinder slotted into the hole with a satisfying click.
Right, so it's left, right, left, left, right, left, left.
A satisfying click told me I turned it to the right position. It felt like tumblers in a safe. Another click. Another step closer. I love the sound of locks clicking open. Carchon's cylinder had fitted snugly into the hole. I removed the stone cylinder. The cross looked familiar. I'd seen it before. Oh my God! The slab came down with a hell of a force. With nothing to hold it up, the cross dropped back down again. If I was going to get a closer look at the panel, I'd have to find a way of keeping the cross up. Lifting the cross closed the entrance door and also opened some kind of stone panel. Ingenious.
I'm not sure if this is the only thing that we can use, but apparently this is what we need to use.
The stone cross was propped up. Now I was getting somewhere. A round slot precisely carved into the stonework. The artifact slotted into the hole perfectly. Behind the old walls, I could hear some kind of mechanism groaning into life, but whatever had been triggered had now jammed. A hidden door. This was getting interesting. Shame the mechanism jammed. I was going to have to find a way to prise it open. The gap was too thin for me to get a grip. I needed something thin enough to prise the door open.
How about an elephant?
I was going to need something a lot stronger than a hair clip to free the door.
Well, I could try the elephant. They are quite strong. Oh, okay.
I removed the shell case. The cross didn't drop back down. Some kind of mechanism was holding it up. Ut lex vel ut next sumito. To the law or unto death, submit. I guess these people didn't believe in liberté, égalité, or fraternité. Yes, I'll admit it. I was a swot at school. I also wore lipstick and the nuns never knew.
So what we need to do now is crush this just here. There we go. And apparently this is still strong enough to use on the cross as well.
The stone slab had flattened one end of the shell case.
This puzzle does feel kind of convoluted.
I removed the shell case.
I have said in the thread that I do have issues with this game, as much as it's nice having a new story arc, they have cut out a lot of content, as this game was originally meant to be released on the Nintendo Wii U and the Nintendo DS. So to add more content into the game and save space, they had to cut out a lot more of the original game.
Another good use for a shell case. Another secret room. Somebody had something to hide. But was it what I was looking for? Wow! Through the darkness, I could see that this was a stateroom. But for what purpose? And how did it tie in with Carchon?
I can't see a bloody thing. So I said there is some new facial animations, but I believe that is the squares in the corner, well, rectangles. But they have cut out a lot of animations. They have cut out they have cut out dialogue. I believe they cut out some scenes. There are no death scenes, and there is no blood in the game at all.
It was an old circuit breaker, like something from a Frankenstein movie. Amazing! The thing still worked. The room lit up bright as day. The flags had faded, but their message was still pretty clear. Fascist regalia, a message of hate. The desks were covered with a layer of dust. No one had worked here for years. I wasn't going to find anything in this old desk. It hadn't been used for years.
I mean, I get that they'd have to remove certain things for the Nintendo systems, as they do have some strict policies. I mean, I get that they cut out death scenes and blood for the Nintendo DS and Wii U, but knowing that they were going to release this for the PC, I would have thought that they would have added things back into the game, or had an uncut version of this.
It was a drawer. I wondered what was inside. Inside the drawer, I found a note written in some kind of code. Damn, don't you just hate it when that happens? The drawer had come out easily enough, but wouldn't fit back into place. A photo, long lost, had fallen down the back of the drawer. It was very old, but there was no mistaking the guy in the foreground. Carchon. Behind him were soldiers, a burning village and a corpse. The photograph was cropped on the right-hand side. Somebody else in the picture obviously didn't want to be in it anymore. I wasn't surprised. This was Africa in the 60s. An uprising was being brutally suppressed. And here was Mr. Media himself, Carchon, doing the suppressing. The photograph was not just powerful evidence. It was also my ticket to one explosive story. But there had to be more for me to discover.
Well, of course, it's only half a photograph. And how much do you want to bet that the other half of the photograph contains Nicole's father?
There was nothing else in the drawer.
Right, so we have a cipher puzzle, and in the interest of saving time, I'm just going to go straight for the answer. Oh yes, we're meant to select these ones just here. What you're meant to do is work out the, shall we say that, the vowels, like here. There's quite a lot of these, so you're supposed to deduce, or at least through trial and error, work out that this is an E. I have done quite a few of these in my time. I mean, this is not new to adventure games. And generally, they are quite easy to work out, as I said, with trial and error, and working out that the more numerous symbols are vowels, or at least like S's, T's, and such. But as I said, in the interest of saving time, instead of spending 10 minutes on this, I'd rather just spend 1 or 2 at the most.
I had decrypted the note. It read, Pierre. Full report to follow. But this is too urgent to wait. Arno and Yamada both dead. This is not a coincidence. Indeed, it seems that all of us who came together in July are in danger. Take great care. X. It was pretty clear from the lack of dust that someone had been working very recently at this desk. Oh my God! The sheet was a printout with my personal information. Everything from my favorite food to my waist size. They were right about chocolate, but come on guys, I'm a size 10. There was even a picture of me, taken with a telephoto lens. Carchon wouldn't have taken these pictures himself. This was big and organized. I was part of it, and people were getting murdered. The dregs at the bottom of the mug hadn't dried out or gone moldy. It wasn't more than a day old. This was the article I'd written about the costume killer. My suspicions were right. Carchon had cut it out. 2 businessmen had been killed. One in Italy, one in Japan. In each case, the killer had worn a costume. A penguin, and then a snowman. But that wasn't the only link between the 2 murders. Both the victims had been big media do-gooders, and I proved they were just the opposite. So, how did they fit in with Carchon? I had enough for a story, an amazing story that was going to make my reputation, and blow Canchons to pieces. I needed to get home fast and start typing.
Bonsoir, Collard.
Nico, it's Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, you cracked open the champagne yet?
Are you crazy?
What's wrong? Wait a minute. You didn't print it, did you?
Course I didn't print.
That's the best piece I've written.
The last, as far as I'm concerned.
It's important.
It's suicidal. You can't destroy a national hero.
He deserved it.
His corpse isn't even cold.
Ronnie, 2 hours ago I told you what I'd found. You loved it. You begged me to write it up immediately.
2 hours is a long time in newspapers, Nico.
Someone's got to you, haven't they?
Listen up, Nicole, and listen good. Pierre Carchon had a lot of friends, powerful friends. For your own sake.
Forget what happened.
You got it. End of conversation. Good night.
This should have been my big break, but I knew there was nowhere else to sell this story. If Ronnie wouldn't print it, nobody would.
Bonsoir, Collard.
Mademoiselle Collard, my name is Plantard. I need to talk to you about your story. Your Pierre Carchon story.
How did you know about that?
There are people out there, madame, who will be very upset by this story.
Oh, really? Well, it's their lucky day. It's been spiked.
Yes, I know. We must meet.
We must?
I have information relating to your costume killer stories. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., Café de la Chandelle Verte, Rue Alain Court. I shall be wearing a grey overcoat. You must talk to no one about this.
You can't tell me what to...
Tomorrow at 8. I'll be waiting.
People complain about newspaper articles all the time, but not usually before they're printed. I was beginning to feel scared. This guy, Plantard, could I trust him? Should I meet him or forget the whole business? I didn't have an answer.